Hey, what's going on? How's it going? Look at these freaking Progressive Voice. This guy is a scammer. Do not visit the Progressive Voice YouTube channel. Do not. It is a terrible channel. You will not learn anything. In fact, you will unlearn things if you go and watch the Progressive Voice. So definitely avoid the Progressive Voice at all cost. But hey, everybody, how's it going? I have not done a live stream on Friday for quite some time, and this I've done 2 live streams this week. Can you believe it? I mean, this one isn't a live stream yet, I guess, until I do something. But I am streaming live, so I guess that maybe counts enough. But so this is going to be a very interesting live stream because I have a bunch of stories prep, like 4 stories prep, which is a bunch for me in one day. Well, 5. Do I have 5? I have 5 stories prep. But I'm not as prepared as I usually am. So I have a lot of, stuff to talk about, but it may be a little more, I don't know, free-flowing than my usual videos are. But Progressive Voice with the spam. Do not visit the Progressive Voice. Anyways, how's everybody doing? How you all doing? Having a good time? I have to say, I think Joe Biden, I'm going to get to Joe Biden. I got a Joe Biden story coming up. I think he is on the same shit that I'm on this week because I have received a boost of energy randomly after taking some vitamin D supplements. And normally it's not something that I think would do anything, but my doctor thought that my vitamin D was kind of low and suggested I take some vitamin D. So I figured, you know what? Maybe I'll do that. And maybe it's the vitamin D, maybe it's something else, I don't know. But I definitely have a lot more energy these past couple days than I normally do. So, Joe Biden likely on that vitamin D. But we will get to him. So, let me give you a little preview of what is coming up today. I'll be talking about spanking. Spanking. And not just the spanking of Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania, but spanking. So, that's coming up. Also, Starbucks and their recent loss. That is fantastic for workers at Starbucks. Also, Jamie Foxx. Yes, randomly, I have 2 videos this week that have to do with Jamie Foxx. I did a video on Monday about Bill Maher picking or being more worried about not being able to see Jamie Foxx's new movie than he is about abortion rights. And another Jamie Foxx related thing coming today. Who would have thought? 2 Jamie Foxx things in a row. Also, Dr. Oz, as I already alluded to, he's coming up. And I think that's it. Is that it? That may be it. And a couple more stories that maybe I'll just reference that I didn't actually get to, finish as usual. But it is what it is. All right. So low vitamin D is going to fatigue you. Maybe that's the issue. I have been very fatigued for quite some time. I figured it was just because I have a baby and, not getting as much sleep as I normally do. But no, now that I've been taking vitamin D, I think it was the vitamin D the whole time. But whatever. My hair is a little weird. Just going to pat that down there. Nothing can be perfect. Okay. Yes, D3 is what I'm doing. D3. All right. First story. What's my first story? Oz. Oz is my first story. So as I said, not as prepped as I normally am. Then again, I'm very prepped. I'm a lot more prepped than I think most people that do this work are. I'm just going to say that. I think I do a lot more research, a lot more reading, a lot more referencing actual materials than most people do. But whatever. That's my show. That isn't everyone's show. All right. Oz. Let's do Oz. Whoa. Let me change that to cut. Dr. Oz wants you to know that he's doing just fine. Yes, his Pennsylvania race against John Fetterman for Senate that he is losing now by about 10 points. Doesn't matter. He's doing just fine. Doesn't matter that the GOP have pulled ad money from his race. None of that matters. He's doing just fine. So I'm going to get to this very interesting bit of news being posed to Dr. Oz in a couple of appearances on television. But first, here is that bit of news. So McConnell says Republicans may not win Senate control, citing candidate quality. Quoting McConnell here, I think there's probably a greater likelihood the House flips than the Senate. Senate races are just different. Candidate quality has a lot to do with the outcome. Now, which races may he be talking about? Well, one of them certainly is Dr. Oz, as we will get to. But first, Donald Trump's reaction to this. He wasn't happy to see that news. On Truth Social, he posts here, why do Republican senators allow a broken down hack politician, Mitch McConnell, to openly disparage hard-working Republican candidates for the U.S. state for the United States Senate? This is such an affront to honor and to leadership. He should spend more time and money helping them get elected, and less time helping his crazy wife and family get rich on China. Okay, I'm just gonna put the, I think, obvious racism aside here. But here, Trump not all that happy about Oz's or about McConnell's criticisms of these candidates because Trump endorsed them. So the people that McConnell is talking about are people that Trump propped up, like Dr. Oz, like Herschel Walker, so like J.D. Vance, another one. But let's focus on Oz. So Oz, this news was brought to Mr. Oz, Mr. Mehmet Oz, fake or real doctor, but TV doctor Mehmet Oz, on Fox News with Maria Bartiromo. Let's check out this clip here.
I'm glad you talk about support and the support that you need, Mehmet, because that's what I want to ask you about. Are you getting support from the Republican Party? I mean, look, let's face it. People were a little taken back the other day when Mitch McConnell comes out and says, well, it's probably 50-50. We're not going to win because we have some bad candidates. Was he talking about you?
He was not, and I'll tell you, he expressed himself quite clearly with his pocketbook. He's put $34 million into my race. That's a lot of money. And if you actually listen carefully to what he was saying, he was highlighting that the quality of the candidates does matter a lot in a statewide race. It always matters. But in a statewide race where you've got to speak to a lot of different constituents, you want to make sure you're out there. And I'm tireless.
Was not talking about him. Really? Really? Well, we'll get to this question being posed again. I just like Maria Bartiromo's pose there. I have. Anyways, so of course, Oz was one of the candidates. But in terms of the money aspect of this, so they've in fact pulled money out of his campaign. So while the Trump endorsed Oz is touting the amount of money that Senate Leadership Fund has pledged to spend promoting his campaign, the National Republican Senatorial Committee recently slashed millions of ad dollars in Pennsylvania and other key GOP battleground states where GOP candidates are struggling. And guess where they slashed the most money? Pennsylvania, $7.5 million. They've also slashed in Arizona, $3.5, Wisconsin, $2.5, and Nevada, $1.5. So when you slash the most money from Pennsylvania, maybe you aren't all that confident in your candidate there. But again, I've said before, things can change. Like there's still money being poured into the race for Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania. Things can move around. This race isn't over. Fetterman can still lose. So if you're in Pennsylvania, get out there, do the work, get people with you out there when you go and vote. But still, Oz performing nowhere near where he was expected to perform based on the fact that he is a TV celebrity. Half of the issue with people that are new to politics trying to win races is name recognition. Name recognition is half the battle. So Oz already clearly has that, but hasn't really helped him. I mean, I think it's helped him to the point where he is right now. But this is a guy who has a long history. I've done many videos at this point on this race and on Dr. Oz, but a history of pushing, snake oil through his TV show. This is a guy who is largely from New Jersey, has 10 homes, is incredibly wealthy, has no reason to be in this race except for his own personal benefit in terms of getting his name up there and just another thing to put in his resume. But clearly this is someone he does not care at all about people. I'm going to get to later on in this video, very shortly here, his healthcare plan, which is insane. But before I get there, let me show you his other appearance where he was asked this question. This is on Newsmax with Eric Bowling.
Candidate quality has a lot to do with the outcome.
Yeah, and so candidate quality, Doc, and it just pissed me off because here's a guy who is supposed to be, he's the Senate minority leader. He's supposed to turn that Senate back to conservatives, to Republicans, and he's questioning the Senate quality candidates. Your thoughts? What do you say to Mitch McConnell?
Eric, well, I tell you, I've been talking to him continually, and the point he was trying to make, I think, is that it matters that we're high quality. But he's put $34 million into my campaign. I'm going to say it again. I mean, he's speaking with his pocketbook, right, in his checkbook. $34 million into my campaign. He is similarly putting in a ton of money into Ohio, Georgia, other states as well. So the press can talk about, the comments that he's made, but I know what he's feeling because he's been acting on those sentiments. The same goes for Rick Scott, who's been incredibly supportive, calling behind the scenes, always active, making sure you're doing the right things, putting money into campaigns, helping raise money, doing everything he can to open doors. I am thrilled with the kind of support that I'm getting across the Republican Party.
One of the best things about this race is that Oz is always on the defense. He's always forced to be responding to either Fetterman, or in this case, Mitch McConnell, the party pulling money from his campaign. At no point in this race have I seen him been able to actually define the discussion in his race. So it's always been him on the defense. And again, that goes to what a great candidate Fetterman has been. By him making Oz's, him being from New Jersey, making that a major issue, him being very wealthy and disconnected, a major issue, him being this horrible, Hollywood doctor, an issue. So really focusing on Oz's character, and at the same time, Fetterman also offering a real platform, fighting for actual specific solutions, not being vague in what he is fighting for. You can check his website, check the ads he's put out. So has a track record of fighting for the working class, has a platform fighting for the working class, while at the same time actually understands how to fight Republicans and understands how to basically generate the discussion around what this race is about. Now, let me end on just another piece of how terrible Oz is. This is an issue I have not touched on yet, and that's his healthcare plan. So there's a couple stories on this. This one here, Mehmet Oz floats bizarre idea to force veterans into private health insurance exchanges. So these are the kinds of stories where if you're in Pennsylvania, you have maybe some conservative leaning friends or family, send this stuff to them, especially if they're seniors, because Dr. Oz pushes Medicare privatization for all. The idea of forcing seniors off of Medicare and into the private market. That's what Dr. Oz wants to do. So a little more on this from The Lever, which, by the way, Lever News, a fantastic outlet. They write here, by contrast, Oz bills his own healthcare plan as Medicare Advantage for all. Such a program could move seniors and most Americans into private insurance plans that have been raising premiums and denying roughly 1 in 10 medical claims, according to a recent government report finding that the plans frequently refuse to cover services required by Medicare. To pay for his privatization plan, Oz has proposed a 20% payroll tax, which would ultimately transfer money from workers to the Republican Party's private insurance donors that have been reporting record profits while jacking up premiums. In other words, Oz himself wants to increase taxes on lower and middle-class Americans to fund his own version of a corporate-run universal healthcare system, one that could come with high patient costs, continued barriers to care, and a windfall for the health insurance industry. This is the kind of stuff that you need to send to people if you're in Pennsylvania and they don't know who to vote for Senate. This is this, like, there have been polls, surveys on what the GOP platform is, and people just don't believe it. Like, they don't, because they don't pay that close attention. Most people have really busy lives. They got things to do. They don't realize how terrible Republicans actually are. So you really have to show people how terrible they are. This race isn't just about Fetterman being largely a great candidate. There are a couple issues that I think he's wrong about, but largely, especially in terms of the Senate, much better than the vast majority of Democrats. It isn't just about Fetterman. It's also about how terrible Dr. Oz is, and people need to be aware of that. Okay, my mouth is getting dry, as you can probably hear in the mic. But 4 more stories coming up. Also, I forgot to mention, of course, I'll take super chats throughout the stream. I see one here. Michael Cuomo says, to be so rich that you run for office because you're bored shows that the rich need to be taxed way, way more. Absolutely. 100%. These people just, they want to see their name in gold. The amount of people that are just super wealthy that run for office, it shows you their desire to just continue their class, their status in society by pushing. I mean, this is true really for both parties a lot of the time. Pushing policies that simply benefit the wealthy, benefit them, allow them maybe some insider knowledge when it comes to trading. So it really is disgusting. A lot more people in working class positions need to run for office, be it, teachers, I don't know, UPS drivers, scientists, just everyday working people need to consider getting into politics. All right. I have another story because I have 4 more stories. So, and I prepped them all ahead of time. Look at me. I'm on it. I am on it today. What should we do next? Oh, while I am waiting, or while I'm figuring this out, therationalnational.com/join. That's the Patreon page if you enjoy the show. And maybe if you don't enjoy the show, even if you hate the show, you should join on Patreon and tell me how much you hate me. First by donating monthly to the show. But there you go. Also, hit subscribe below. This is free. Hit subscribe. Hit like. That helps the algorithm. And also hit the bell notification icon to know when I am going live. Now to figure out what we will talk about next. So I did Oz. Let's see here. Should we do spanking? Should we get to the spanking? I'm going to save the Jamie Foxx one till the end since it's largely just entertainment. But yeah, let me do spanking. Let's get to spanking. I don't know how many times I can say spanking. Okay. This one I really don't know how to intro, but it kind of speaks for itself. Also, did I mention this already? I think I did. Super chats. I mean, I read one, but yes. Send in super chats. I will read them, and we'll all have a good time. Okay. Make sure I know what I'm doing here. Okay. Spanking. Missouri is bringing back spanking. Spanking in schools. Now, I got a couple of clips on this with some reactions from a local news station and from Fox News. But first, spanking. So look, I'll get to my thoughts on if I will spank my child after the first clip. But at the very least, I think we should all agree that other people shouldn't be spanking your children. That said, this school district in Missouri is apparently now allowing it, but with the permission of the parents. Still, the kids clearly have no say in this. So, You know, some shitty parent can say, yes, you may spank my child at school. Well, let's first get to this report. This is CBS Atlanta discussing this news.
A Missouri school district says it's bringing back spanking. It's asking parents to give written permission to allow teachers to spank their child. The district says this punishment will be a last resort. Most states have outlawed corporal punishment in schools. I'm kind of wondering what kind of school district this is. Is this like a Catholic school? Is this a public school district?
Okay, I will say I think spanking is kind of a cultural thing, because I know a lot of people, at least in the black community, when they see a child acting up, they're like, ooh, that child needs to get popped. But do I want someone else popping my kid?
It's also
You're
generational,
right.
because I had a spanking a time or two.
Really? I got spanked one time by my dad. I remember it to this day, and he cried afterwards.
Yeah,
man.
they always. That's the thing. My parents did always regret it,
Yeah.
but in the
Yes.
moment, it was like necessary.
But you really can't do it anymore. Like,
No.
it's.
I don't think I would want someone else spanking
We
my
haven't
child.
done that,
Yeah.
and we will not be doing that.
Yeah.
Let me just say that. So.
That child needs to get popped. That one, I think, is going to stick with me. Now, let's first get to how, yes, this is apparently legal. Legal. This, yes, you can hit children, apparently. Still, this is insane to me. But the punishment is still legal in public schools across 19 states, including Missouri, of course. In almost all states except for New Jersey and Iowa, it's also allowed in private schools. Which, okay, if anything, you should hit those kids more. Joking, hit nobody. I don't hit any children. It's terrible. But these are the states that have since banned it. So New Jersey actually banned it in 1876. Massachusetts, and then took 100 years for other states to follow through. So Massachusetts, 71. Hawaii, Maine, D.C., Rhode Island. Anyways, you can go down the list. A lot of states have banned spanking in schools. It's crazy to me that it isn't just outright, outlawed. But a little more on how this does not work. So from the Washington Post here, groups like the American Academy of Pediatrics and American Psychological Association have warned that corporal punishment can spark academic, emotional, and behavioral issues. A 2016 Journal of Family Psychology study found that spanking increased the risk of aggression and antisocial behavior. The UN considers corporal punishment to be a human rights violation. The International Organization's Convention on the Rights of the Child urges countries to ban the practice. This is a great quote. In any other context, the act of an adult hitting another person with a board would be considered assault with a weapon and would be punishable under criminal law. Researchers Elizabeth T. Gershoff and Sarah A. Font wrote of corporal punishment in a 2016 study. So, look, I get that people are victims of their environment. Maybe they grew up getting spanked. I was spanked several times, though it wasn't a commonplace, but I was hit. I don't think it improved me in any way. In fact, it made me really hate my parents at the time. But think of it this way. In any other context, an adult hitting another person is assault. Yet it's okay when an adult hits a child? Like, you're basically saying, you know what? Fights are good. Forget talking it out. Forget, reasoning with people. No, instead you should punch them in the face. How can anybody possibly justify this? So no, I will not be hitting my child. It's not going to solve anything. In fact, as research points out, it could lead to real issues. So even if you were hit and you thought, oh, I was hitting it, straighten me out, maybe you would have been straightened out regardless. Maybe you didn't need to get hit and have an increased risk of aggression and antisocial behavior. And maybe you do have an increased aggression or antisocial behavior because of it. So just be a little more aware that, your anecdotal evidence of maybe what you have experienced isn't quite right. And we should actually look at the science and data behind it. But I want to end on Fox News discussing this, which is always interesting to see what their take is. So here they are. This is Fox News' The Five discussing spanking.
You got paddled.
Second grade.
Do you agree with this form of punishment?
It worked.
It did?
It worked.
Look how you
As I
turned
said,
out.
I got two. It never happened again. I got spanked that day 2 times. Once my parents learned, they were so embarrassed. They took matters in their own hands when I got home as well. So I don't have as much of an issue with this.
In my opinion, if I had children, I would want to take care of the paddling myself.
Can you paddle female students?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no distinction.
You
And
can.
on the butt, right? Not in the hand.
On the butt. It's on the butt.
And how many smacks do you get?
I think
to 3.
Up to 3.
3. And you cannot cause physical harm.
Well, what's the line?
Well, physical harm
Tears?
is physical injury.
Tears
where,
don't count.
No, where you leave a mark.
Where you leave a mark?
Yeah.
How do you know?
The parents will tell you when the kid gets
Here's
home.
you know what we're going to hear about? Suing. The kids are going to sue the school because it did leave a mark.
All right, there. So the panel kind of mixed on the idea of spanking. Janine Pirro there. Let me see if my sound drop for her works. No, wrong one.
When you have
Wrong one.
rational national priorities.
Wrong one.
That makes rational national sense.
There you go. Spanking does not make
Rational national sense.
rational national sense based on the data, on the science. You can see they're one of the Fox 5 panelists. As I said earlier, they were spanked, so it must be fine to spank people. No. You could see even they were kind of mixed, largely on the idea of spanking, at least teachers doing it, thankfully. Like, I just don't understand how anybody could be okay with that. But I don't know. We're going to see if spanking now catches on, because everything else is going backwards. Why not spanking? All right.
That makes rational national sense.
I should label my buttons so I know what the hell's the right one.
This is truly mental illness.
Yeah. That's more like it. All right, I got 3 more stories coming up. Some chats here. Cutthroat Juggalo says, #support Mr. Dole. I agree. Thank you for your donation, sir. Or madame. Much appreciated. Humans Report says, as a dog dad, I would never spank my children. Let's hope not. Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for your donation and your comment. Yeah, do not spank animals either. The funny thing is, like, I guarantee there are people out there who are like, oh, I would never hit my dog. But then their child, not the same rule. But people are weird. That's what I've learned. People are weird. Okay, so 3 more stories. Oh my God, I have too much today. I do too much work. This is why you should support the show on therationalnational.com/join. Because maybe I'll do more of these live streams. All right, next up. So let me move this one away. We've done punishment. We've done Oz. I'm going to put the boring one in now. I shouldn't call it boring. This is an important story. But in terms of like the entertainment value, maybe not as entertaining. But the most important story, I would say, maybe, that I have here. So we will do that next. You know what? I'm going to grab some more water. Look at this. Need more water. I will be right back. All right, I'm back now. Okay. So, as I said, the most important story is next, and then a couple more, and then we will chat, maybe talk about video games. So I'll lose like most of my audience, but that'll be the end. So you can stay for that. Trying to find my place here. All right. And I prepped all of these in like a few hours somehow. Must be the vitamin D. I don't know. I only had one coffee today. Just going over my stuff here. Okay. Before I start, Jonathan Letter here, a member for 7 months. Thank you, Jonathan. Says life is strange, people are weird, and love is tricky. You may quote me. Great to catch you live, David. Thank you for your work. Sign up, folks. Thank you, Jonathan. I agree. Life is strange, people are weird, and love is tricky. All very true. Okay. Let's get going. With over 200 Starbucks locations voting to form a union and 100 more in the process of a union vote, Starbucks corporate just lost a very important case with the National Labor Relations Board, where they have been found illegally withholding raises from union workers. So I actually did a video on this, I think a few months ago, when Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, was discussing doing this. And at the time, I pointed out this is illegal. And it appears that, yes, in fact, it is illegal. So let me show you what they've been doing. It's insane. So first, just Bernie's response here, saying enough is enough. Howard Schultz, the billionaire CEO of Starbucks, must end his war against his employees, recognize the union, and negotiate a first contract. If you think back to the Democratic primary in 2020, Howard Schultz briefly ran for the nomination. And I remember at one point, this is either after the primary or during the primary, he was trying to buddy up with like Bernie Sanders. I don't know if you can go back and find those clips or those images, but Bernie was not interested and was kind of confused by Howard Schultz's advances. But it's good to see here. Of course, Bernie has been the strongest voice, especially in the Senate, standing with the working class here, and has done actually several rallies this past weekend. He was in, I think, he was in Boston and Philly, standing up with organizers in both those cities. But going on here with what Starbucks has been doing. So the NLRB seeks back payments and benefits for unionized workers since May, and to require Schultz to read a statement to workers about their union rights. The board, which is tasked with enforcing labor laws that protect union rights, said Starbucks' denial of benefits and raises to union workers was intended to discourage union organizing. Because of course it was. The idea that you would deny raises and benefits to workers who are trying to organize, that's an obvious attempt to try and discourage people in your workers from organizing. And I actually love that he is being required to read a statement to workers about their union rights, because Schultz has been so vocally anti-union for so long. Just picturing him being forced to have to read union rights to his workers is something I hope is caught on camera, because I want to see that. But a little more here. So Schultz has openly refused to work in good faith with the Starbucks Workers United and largely prevented collective bargaining from happening. Of the 230 locations that have voted to unionize since December, just 3 have started contract negotiations with Starbucks. Completely insane, and goes to the point of Bernie, yelling at Howard Schultz here to recognize and negotiate first contracts. So more on what Starbucks has been doing. So in August, non-union Starbucks workers who had been employed since May 2nd saw their wages increase to $15 an hour, or by 3%, whichever was higher. Employees with benefits 2 and 5 years of experience received a raise of at least 5%, or an increase to 5% above the starting rate in their market, whichever was greater. Non-union baristas with more than 5 years of experience received a raise of at least 7%, or 10% above the starting rate in their market, whichever was greater. So just showing you, exactly what they've been doing with non-union workers and what they've been denying the unionized or the workers that have voted to unionize. Now, on the in terms of, I mean, there's been a lot of stories. If you search up Starbucks and union or the NLRB, you're going to see a lot pop up because a lot has been going on with how they have been denying rights to their workers. But here's another example. Federal judge orders Starbucks to rehire fired union organizers in Memphis. So they have been firing people that have been trying to organize in their stores. Again, an obvious illegal behavior here that they have been caught doing and have been forced to rectify. Last point I want to make here, because you may have noticed the NLRB kind of good with a lot of the moves they've been making. Well, interestingly enough, you can thank Bernie Sanders, or I should say Bernie staffers. So Holly Otterbein tweeted this out back in actually over a year ago, 2021. But this was near the beginning of Biden and his hiring with his administration. So this is Josh Orton saying that he was hired by the Department of Labor. So Holly Otterbein here of Politico saying another top Bernie staffer, Orton was Sanders' 2020 senior advisor, goes to the Department of Labor. Annalia Mejia, Sanders' 2020 national political director, announced recently that she had been hired as the deputy director of the Department of Labor's Women's Bureau. So some solid Sanders voices in the Department of Labor. I'm not sure if Bernie pulled some strings to try and maybe this is part of his endorsement in 2020 for Biden. Who knows what went on behind the scenes? Regardless, solid hires here by the Biden administration at the beginning of his term, and may help us understand why the NLRB has been so solid throughout Biden's term. So another example here of a massive corporation getting caught breaking workers' rights and being forced to actually do something in response by both rehiring people who were fired and also actually offering wage increases and benefits to union employees. All right, there we go. That was your information for the day, but there's more information. Other more or less important information, but still important and entertaining. So we will get to there. Man, I am losing my voice. I think I'm getting sick again, unfortunately. When you have a child in daycare, this is what happens every 2 weeks. But it's all good because we got Joe Biden coming up. More Joe Biden. I did a story yesterday that I may have done a little too early because after I did my story yesterday, more came out about about Biden, and you're going to see the White House here just shockingly kicking some ass. So that is the next story. Let me make sure I got everything lined up here. All right. I think I do. Man of Tomorrow, thank you for becoming a member. All right. All right. I'm wondering if I should reference my video yesterday at the beginning of this video. Maybe I should in some way. Hold up. How do I do this? All right. Yeah, I got it. All right. So to my surprise, Joe Biden and the White House are continuing to kick more ass. Now, this is not something that I really expected. I mean, if you've watched my coverage of Biden this year, it's largely been negative because of many broken promises, his obvious weakness towards Republicans unwilling to fight them. But I did a video on Thursday discussing how Joe Biden strikes back, using examples of how he's fighting back against criticisms of his plan to cancel some student debt, and actually arguing from a working class perspective. So doing some, fantastic messaging here on the issue of student loan cancellation. So I called it Joe Biden strikes back. Well, that day, more happened that I would have included in that video had had it happened earlier. So let me show you just what the hell is going on, because that same day, Joe Biden held a rally. I'm going to get to some clips from that rally and also the White House. Let's get to the White House right now, because this is wonderful. I don't think ever liked a tweet from the White House, but I think I'll like this one. If I didn't already, I already did, because this is amazing. So the White House here pointing out, and through a number of tweets, this is a long thread, of conservatives criticizing the idea of student loan debt cancellation. Meanwhile, these same individuals had their PPP loans forgiven. So the White House here tweeting out, and I covered a lot of this in my video on Biden here, but here they are tweeting out. Taylor Greene, who's complaining about this debt being forgiven. Taylor Greene had $183,504 in PPP loans forgiven. And they go on here. Buchanan, $2.3 million in PPP loans forgiven. Here he is complaining about student loan debt cancellation. Mullen, $1.4 million forgiven. Again, complaining about student loan debt cancellation. Kevin Hearn, over $1 million in PPP loans forgiven. So this is amazing to see. You never, ever see Democrats fight like this. So to see the official White House account openly showcase the obvious hypocrisy going on here is incredible messaging. And I think this will help them politically going forward if they continue this kind of fight, not just on Twitter, but generally. If the administration fights like this and showcases the obvious hypocrisy going on here and continues pushing popular policies, maybe next, decriminalize cannabis, then you will see, continued support or continued increases in their approval rating. And as I discussed in my video on Thursday, Biden's approval rating has been ticking up the more he's been on the offensive compared to where he has been largely this past year. But I want to show you just what is likely behind the White House here doing this. And that's this person here, Meghan Coyne, the voice of New Jersey, is headed to the White House. So she apparently runs the White House social media account. And that's significant because this is the person who ran this very popular New Jersey account, replying here to someone who said, "Who let New Jersey have Twitter?" And she replied, "Your mom." So and this says almost 500,000 likes. So, hiring someone who knows how to use Twitter was a good move by the White House. Now, in terms of Biden, so we will get to some clips from Joe Biden. So this is having to do with his rally. So Biden stepped onto the campaign trail with a rally in Rockville, Maryland, hosted by the Democratic National Committee. The event comes as once dreary prospects for Democrats appear to be improving in the upcoming midterm elections. He used the opportunity to drive home the danger of letting Trumpism take back control of the country. And I'm going to get to another insane criticism of something Biden said during this rally. But first, I'm going to show you a series of clips here of just his attitude, his demeanor, his actual fight that he showcased during this rally.
You and 81 million Americans voted to save our democracy. That's why Donald Trump isn't just a former president. He is a defeated former president. We also included a provision that would have allowed anyone with diabetes, including those kids and their families, that should get charged somewhere between $600 and $1,000 a month. How would you feel like being a parent, looking at your kid and knowing you didn't have the insurance and knowing if they did not get that insulin, they may die? There's thousands of people in America going through that. And these Republicans ripped that out of the bill, but we're coming back. The court, in its opinion, used the phrase, that women have a right to vote and change this. Well, guess what? MAGA Republicans don't have a clue about the power of women. Let me tell you something. They are about to find out. Oh yeah. Do you want to put your Social Security in the hands of Ted Cruz and Marjorie Taylor Greene? I mean it.
I don't know how to how to react to that, because who is this guy? Where is this Joe Biden been this entire time? This is how he should have been acting for his entire administration, not just on the campaign trail in the midterms. This is the approach he should always be taking. Be on the offense. Actually fight Republicans. Show some emotion, some anger. I am shocked, absolutely shocked at how solid that was. So just on his point on insulin, for example, of course, everything said there was exactly right. Republicans blocked a $35 cap on the price of insulin. I think I covered this in a video just on this story. But yes, this is true. This is what they did. Democrats, as you see there, should be running on this. Run on the fact that Roe was overturned. I think a lot of people are already motivated to go out and vote because of that. And also run on what has been accomplished, even though I've been very critical of Biden. There's been, nowhere near what he promised in his agenda. And he could have fought a lot harder for Build Back Better. But putting that aside, student debt cancellation is a massively popular issue. I covered the details of that yesterday. Almost even so, I think it's like 45% of Republicans even support it. So a majority of independents, of course, majority Democrats, and almost half of Republicans support at least some student debt cancellation. And more than half of people who don't even have any student debt, never had student debt, support at least some student debt cancellation. It is a very popular issue. So if you run on what you've actually done, if you run on how horrible Republicans are, it's going to be, a massive boost for you. And if you want to see the list of the assholes that voted against this, here are the 43 Republicans. I'm not going to read through it, but you can find this list at Newsweek here. And, pause the video, see if your garbage senators in this list. Also worth pointing out here, during that rally, Biden slammed semi-fascism in the GOP as he rallies for Democrats. So, nothing at all wrong with this. In fact, this is maybe too kind. But this guy came out, Shadi Hamid said, this is not a good look for Biden. To say that MAGA-ism is semi-fascism is effectively to say that tens of millions of Americans are semi-fascist. And also, what exactly is semi-fascism? It's not even a thing. What is wrong with pointing facts out? You should be a lot more concerned with this. Almost 1 in 3 of Republicans say violence may be necessary to save, quote unquote, save the U.S. Biden simply pointing this out in the kindest way possible, calling it semi-fascism. What is wrong with this? Like, the amount of garbage and lies and bullshit that Republicans put out there about, crazy Marxist, socialist, communist Democrats, Biden pointing to a fact and being almost too soft about it, how is that worthy of any criticism at all? So if you go through this, it really is disgusting. Like, these people, among Americans who believe the election was stolen from Trump, which it was not, 39% believe violence may be required. A lot more people should be ringing the alarm bells about this, including sitting politicians. But it's insane that anybody would criticize that. And like this idea that, if you're kind to the fascists, then they'll see how nice you are and then they'll like you. Like, it is so completely stupid. And that's largely been Biden's strategy, is being kind to the right. I mean, he still compliments Mitch McConnell, calling him an honorable man. He's a man of his word. He's a nice guy. He's my friend. Meanwhile, like he literally stole at least one Supreme Court seat from the Democrats. So having this kind of kind approach to the right is not going to benefit anybody and just helps lead everyone towards fascism. You actually have to be willing to fight these people and fight them rhetorically. And this from Biden really is the bare minimum. So it's, you know, the beginning here. It's good to see. I hope there is more of it. But at the same time, I am kind of surprised that there is any of it, that he's actually fighting, showing a willingness here to call out the fascists where he sees them, while also defending excellent moves like canceling student loan debt. Biden, he has to continue this strategy. And if they show this and continue this, not just in the midterms, but past the midterms and into the future, then the Democratic Party can actually see some real transformation and has the potential to be a fighter for the working class, assuming some people in leadership get replaced first. All right. One more story left. Let me grab some chats here. I forget where I left off. Punk, thank you for becoming a member. Says Dark Brandon had his Beast Gohan moment. I think that's a Dragon Ball Z reference, but I'm not sure. But thank you for your chat. Still Alive with a very generous super chat says, one reply I got over the Repub hypocrisy over the PPP loans was apparently they weren't told they had to pay back their loans if they retained their workers, while people who took out student loans did know. Your reply to that? The money was paid back, regardless of what their argument is. The money was paid back. We're talking about millionaires. Like Daily Caller had, I think, over $1 million in PPP loans. That was founded by Tucker Carlson, who is an heir to the Swanson dinner fortune. They didn't need any of that. Is there a deep dive on where that money actually went, if it actually went to workers? Is the IRS going through all of the documents, going through all the books on all these massive companies that took all this money? I mean, for anyone in a position of power and wealth and privilege to complain at all about a measly 10 or even 20 grand for those on Pell Grants is completely insane to me, when they have had all the benefits in the world, both in PPP loans and also just historically in terms of tax cuts. That's been going on for, 40 plus years. So no, there is no rational criticism of student loan debt cancellation. And even if all you cared about was the impact on the economy, it's going to be a boost, allowing people to actually put money back into the economy, freeing them up from this burden they've been holding on, which again goes to why you should cancel all of it. But when you have a $2 trillion tax cut for the wealthy and massive corporations and $2 trillion in student loan debt, Biden could have easily canceled all of it. And he didn't. He canceled a bit. It's going to help a lot of people. But understand, it's nowhere near what he could have done, including could have done politically, where the politics would have been on his side because of the massive tax cut that already went towards the rich and large corporations. Rolando Kappa, I don't know how to say your last name, but thank you. Rolando says, glad to finally be catching the Rational National live. Thanks, David, for all that you do. Thank you so much. Ford says, ever been to Buffalo? I love Canadians, but holy damn, do you guys drive fast? I feel like you're a slow driver if you're saying that. Because you have to... All right, here's the thing. If you're a slow driver, it's fine. Just make sure you're not in the passing lane. Make sure you are on the right side and that I can pass you. Because, right, I'm just getting a vibe from you that you are a slow driver if you think we're fast drivers. Because I think typically, I don't think we drive fast at all. I think Canadians largely, the good ones, abide by the rules. But I don't know. Anyways, on Buffalo, to get to your actual question. Yes, I've been to Buffalo a couple of times. Once when I was younger, another one I think I was just passing through it, going to, when I took a bus to DC. But It's a nice little place. Haven't spent too much time there, but you know, it's a city. All right. One more story left. So maybe I should get to it. I'm still hung up on this idea that Canadians drive fast. I'm just wondering where you got this from. Is it because maybe you mixed up kilometers an hour with miles per hour and you thought that, oh my God, Canadians are driving 120 miles per hour? Like maybe that's what confused you, because there's no way we drive fast. I don't know where that comes from. I've never heard that before from anybody. So I'm just confused by that. Miles says, want to get drunk tonight. Actually, maybe. Miles is a friend of mine. Assuming this is the real Miles. Maybe I do. Are you free? Let me know. Text me. All right. Last story. Jamie Foxx. Save the best for last. This story has no redeeming qualities. No value whatsoever. But is very entertaining. Very entertaining. In fact, one of the most entertaining things I've seen this week. So we will enjoy ourselves here. I'm telling you, if you have not seen this, prepare to be entertained. All right? I guarantee entertainment in this next segment. Now we'll get to more chats. I see more chats popping up. I'll get to them. All right. Let's do Jamie Foxx. How do I intro this? I have no idea. How do I intro a story that has that doesn't matter at all? I'll figure it out. Let's do it. Let's do it live. I'm trying to think. How do I intro this? Think of the best impression of Donald Trump that you've ever seen. I'm about to show you a better one. So, Jamie Foxx did his Trump impression during an episode of the Rap Radar podcast, and holy shit. Holy shit, it is so good. So I'm going to show you that, and later I will show you another fantastic Trump impression. In fact, these two in my mind are probably tied at this point. But let's get to Jamie Foxx. So this blew me away. I know this has no real. This is not important news, but it's important to have some joy sometimes. All right. So I'm going to spread this joy to you because you have to see how amazing this impression is.
There's a lot of great people on both sides. Lots of great people on both sides. I know Harry, he's a great person. He couldn't vote for me at the time. Now he can vote for me once he gets out. I love Snoop Deal Double G. Great person.
So do you love Death Row Records?
I love Death Row. I love Death. Excuse me. Fake news. I love Death Row.
What's your favorite Death Row record, Mr. Trump?
All of them. All of the Death Row records. Don't try to pin me down. I see what he just. Excuse me.
Fake news.
Excuse me.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Look out for
They
it.
tried to give me the virus. I beat the virus. Why you say they tried to? They tried to give me the virus. Like, who is they? And the motherfucker said, "I beat the virus." They were like, "Fuck yeah, he beat it." Motherfucker Trump, boy.
Oh my God. So again, credit there to the Rap Radar podcast. He was there with Snoop Dogg. Holy shit. Have you ever seen something where you're just both impressed, but also almost equally jealous of what you just witnessed? That's me right now. I wish I could do an impression like that. I don't know how he pulled that out of his throat, but my God, that was so well done. He should be casted in a future movie where Donald Trump's involved, because holy shit. Now, I'm going to show you another amazing impression. I think most of you at this point have seen this one, but this is James Austin Johnson. This is in fact, the beginning of his impression. This is before he was ever hired by SNL. So he's now the new, Trump guy on SNL. But this is long before that. And what I think James Austin Johnson does better than anybody else, maybe even Jamie Foxx, is this stream of consciousness that Trump has, where you're going to see here James Austin Johnson, I keep saying his full name for some reason, Johnson goes off on the idea of Scooby-Doo. So this goes to how Trump's mind works, especially when he has a rally.
Scooby-Doo. 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 They call him Scooby-Doo. They call show Scooby-Doo. But Scooby doesn't do anything. Scooby is not involved. Half the time, Scooby's not even involved. He's just a bystander. It's one of the worst deals we've ever had. To call a show Scooby-Doo and then not deliver on Scooby-Doo. This is not a show about a dog sniffing its ass, okay? This is your show where the mystery team are in a van and they walk around and they do, they figure out, mystery. They're solving mystery.
Anyways, he goes on for like 2 more minutes discussing Scooby-Doo. It is amazing what these people can pull off. Again, the jealousy I have for this kind of talent is just incredible. Absolutely amazing. Some a moment of levity here, a little bit from the usual news, but it is fun to see that something came out of Trump's 4 years, and that's a couple of amazing impressions. All right, there you go. Your dumb video of the day. Just as I lose my voice, perfect timing. All right, I'll grab some chats. We'll talk a little bit more. Huh? Maybe talk some games as I lose half my audience. And then get going. How about that? All right. Puff, which is what I'll be doing tonight, says, David, speeding in GTA/Ontario culture. Or speeding is GTA/Ontario culture. If you drive anywhere else, I'm Canada. In Canada, I think you're going to say. If you drive anywhere else in Canada, they go so slow, it's insane. Is speeding is GTA culture? I don't know. Yes, people speed. People speed everywhere. I feel speeding isn't like uniquely Ontario or uniquely Toronto. I don't know. I have not heard this. This is news to me. Complete news to me. Fake news. Sorry, I can't do Jamie Foxx impression. Fake news. Mike H says, hi, David. Hello, Mike. Eric Hansen says, just watched a video about how Shell Oil Company controls the Nigerian government and economy pretty much entirely. Video done by right-wing Channel 2. Interesting. I don't know anything about this. There goes my throat. Okay. Oh yeah, let me bring up the chat since that's always fun. But a couple of stories here I did not get to. I always like to show the audience this, If you stay for the live stream, here's what you could have seen had I done more work. Here we go. This one's good. Maybe I can go small here. 4-day work week trial at Toronto tech company led to unanticipated result. What's that result? Was it a huge failure? Did it crash and burn? No, actually, it was amazing. So let me read a bit of this. Ross Wainwright, CEO of Alida, said the software company implemented 4-day work weeks for its 500 employees at the start of June, and the 2-month trial wraps up this week. Company officials said the decision for the shortened work week came from employee feedback and was driven by the COVID pandemic. The early results are fantastic. The employees are clearly happier and they are more balanced. Wainwright said the company did not reduce salaries, important point to make here, in order to achieve the 4-day work week where everyone has Fridays off. This is about getting better balance for our employees and helping to invest in their mental health. Wainwright said the most unanticipated result for the trial was how empowered his employees told him they felt knowing the company trusted them to get the job done with a reduced schedule. These are the things you hear with all of these trials. If you go and look up 4-day workweek trial, there are multiple examples of this, and it's the exact same result. The employees still get their work done, and on top of that, they're much happier. They're much more excited about coming to work and doing the work and working there in generally. And because you put that trust and you have that respect for your employees, it gets returned onto the employer. And this is something that I think will continue as we continue seeing the benefits of the 4-day work week. More here, we empowered the employees to get the work done within their schedule. It's the power of trust that really motivated the employees. The day you should trust your employees is the day you hire them, and that trust has gone a long way. So the company will take the next 6 weeks to review the results of the trial and hopes 4-day work weeks will become a permanent part of the company's benefit package. Amazing. I'm also going to mention, though, there's a side benefit that maybe that is worth discussing. I think it's possible this employer was maybe worried about unions. Seeing the increase of union votes across North America, just looking at Starbucks, looking at Amazon. There was a new one this week. I think Chili's had their first union vote. But you're seeing this increase, this interest in workers having rights. And one way potentially for these employers to maybe try and prevent that push is to have a 4-day work week. That said, how about both? How about union and a 4-day work week? I think it's important for employees to have a voice in the workplace. You shouldn't always be at the whims of your employer. You should have a say over your benefits, over your work environment, over your wages. And by having that collectively, you're able to actually have some real power in the workplace and have some, say in your future. But that said, apart from the union aspect of this, I think a 4-day work week is the future, and we're going to continue seeing a push towards that. All right. Anything else worth noting here? So the trial is being conducted through partnerships between 4-day Workweek Global and researchers at Cambridge, Boston College, and Oxford University. Includes 3,300 workers across 70 different companies. Interesting. So it's happening at many different places. So they're only working 80% of their usual hours, and they're seeing no changes in compensation or productivity. Anecdotally, companies are suggesting there's been an overwhelmingly positive experience with the revenue and productivity levels that have either maintained or in some cases improved. Cool. So that's a story that I considered covering, but only really had this one thing to go on. I don't know. I don't usually make entire videos off of one report, but potentially a future video. Also, what is this about? I had this saved. New poll: Americans consider threats to democracy the most important issue ahead of midterm elections. So my title for this was New Poll Shows Americans Are Not a Lost Cause. So it is important to remind ourselves every now and then that not everyone is crazy, because we see a lot of crazy in the news. That's usually what it's focused on, because it's important to point out the crazy and be aware of the crazy and call out the crazy. But it's also important to remind ourselves that most people are not the crazy, and most people understand the importance of democracy and are recognizing the obvious threats towards democracy. And I think you're seeing that with the big push right now in the midterms towards Democrats, where they saw the overturning of Roe and realized how serious this shit is, that rights can be stripped away at any point when you have these fascists in power. So it's important to, even just as a defensive mechanism, ensure at the very least that you are doing what you can to continue having an actual democracy. And of course, you know, there are real criticisms around, is America really a democracy with the amount of power that corporations and money have? And I think there's an obvious answer there that no, it's an oligopoly. Massive companies control everything. But regardless, it's important to have voting rights. It's important to ensure that the results of elections are actually respected when moving forward. But good to see that. One more thing I have saved here. NBC new poll, 57% of voters say investigations into Trump should continue. Again, showing you not everyone is crazy. And one more thing here. Polls reveal Trump's FBI search bump. I don't know what this is. NBC News poll Sunday shows Trump tightening his hold on Republicans. Several polls show him rising against. Oh, yeah. So since the raid on Trump at Mar-a-Lago, since the FBI got their documents back at Mar-a-Lago, Trump has strengthened his support within the GOP. So for a while, I've covered this. A lot of polling showed support moving towards DeSantis, as Trump has been largely out of the limelight up to this point, and DeSantis has been a lot more, trying to get in front of cameras and make a name for himself. So that's now switched back around in Trump's favor because of what's happened. But understanding it's about Trump retaining support within his own party that already was either going to be for him or DeSantis. So it's not about, getting new voters on board now because Trump was, because Trump stole documents that were taken back. It's just about him maintaining control of his own party. All right. Now I will end on chats and video games. How about that? Mike H says, have you spent any time in Western Canada? No, I have not. I've actually never been to the West in Canada. I've been to Seattle. I've been to California. I've been to Portland. But I've actually never been to British Columbia. But I would like to go. Gabe Newell says, did you see Bill Maher's audacity to whine about not being able to see? I covered that on Monday. Yes, Gabe. In fact, I will show you right now. Which I mentioned earlier. I did not expect to mention Jamie Foxx's name in two different videos this week, but I did. One in the segment I just did, and the other was Bill Maher. Bill Maher's comments here. How do I show you this properly? Here. Bill Maher picks Jamie Foxx movie over abortion rights. So I covered that on Monday. Check that out. Go watch the video. In fact, hit the bell icon so you know when a new video goes up and you don't miss it. RN says, can you say happy belated B-Day? Is it Rajan? I want to say your name correctly. To me, I had to cancel my plans due to COVID. Oh, that sucks. But happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Golden Green says, hi, David. Here's some beer money. You make a difference. Love from Kelowna. Thank you so much for your beer money, and I can guarantee you it will go to beer. Maybe drinking tonight. If Miles gets back to me, we will see. We'll see what happens. All right. As I'm winding down, let's I'll take more chats as you know, as we're ending the stream slowly. But I'm playing some games, guys. I'm playing some video games. It's kind of weird to have a one-sided conversation on this. Like, I would like to converse with all of you. But right now I'm playing Astral Chain on Nintendo Switch. I am super into it. I began playing it, just kind of wanted to check it out because I wanted to jump to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. But I began playing, I was like, this is actually really good. And so now I'm like, I don't know, 10 hours into it. So I will get to, I want to beat that. Then I'll get to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I still haven't played the new Pokemon that came out earlier this year, the more open world one. I'm going to play that. Also, Fire Emblem, the one that came out a few years ago. I also got that on discount, so I want to try that out. And Roller Drome on PS5. Holy shit, that game is really good. Roll 7, a fantastic developer known for Ollie Ollie, put out Roller Drome. Fantastic game. It's like, let me show you how crazy this game is. It's roller skating mixed with shooting. It's amazing. It's very fun, very different. It's also, I should point out, anti-capitalist. It's got a little story. It's got a little anti-capitalist story behind it. Very interesting. But here's the game. Look at this crazy shit. Fantastic art style. Looks amazing. And you skate around doing flips and tricks while you are shooting bad guys. It is amazing. Anyways, been playing that. But yeah, that's what's been going on in my downtime. I swear to God, if I didn't have video games to like escape from the real world, I would go crazy because there is very little that allows me to just kind of forget about how serious everything is than video games. That said, I have watched the new episode or the first episode of House of Dragon. I'm getting back into Game of Thrones. It's going to happen. Couldn't help myself. I'm into it. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to the rest. They've already renewed for season 2. So hopefully, I'm hoping for sort of like a Better Call Saul Breaking Bad relationship here where the prequel actually turns out to be almost as good, if not better, than the original. Because I would argue, if you've seen Better Call Saul, I would argue at this point that it's at least on par with Breaking Bad, if not better. It is such a fantastic show, and no spoilers, nothing at all, but I will say I think it has maybe the best ending I've ever any show I've ever seen. Maybe apart from 6 Feet Under, but, you know, they're both up there. 6 Feet Under and Better Call Saul, I think, the best endings in any TV show. But what are all you playing? Playing Planet Zoo, 83 hours into zoo design. That's a very specific, interesting niche. I'm seeing Elden Ring pop up here. I have shockingly not yet played Elden Ring. And it's because games that kill me a lot scare me. So I tend to avoid them. But at some point, when I see that game go discount, I'm definitely going to pick it up. There's just so much in my backlog. It's the problem. Yeah, Three Houses is I think the one that I picked up. Because I got into strategy RPGs this year with Triangle Strategy. And yes, Three Houses, that's the one that I got. So I'm looking forward to getting into Fire Emblem. I have not played a Fire Emblem game. I hope it's as good as Triangle Strategy was. Control's really good. I played through that when it came out. Control's a great game. I think I tried Genshin Impact. When it comes to free-to-play games, they very rarely are able to grab me. Diablo Immortal, I have not. I do like the art style, though, of Genshin Impact. Actually, speaking of which, this is almost embarrassing to admit. I shouldn't be embarrassed. I don't know why I'm embarrassed. But I've kind of started watching some anime, and if you told me this like 20 years ago, I was not this person. I was not into like Japanese culture, wasn't into JRPGs, was not into anime. I was always a huge gamer, but for some reason was never into JRPGs. But I always appreciated the art. I just never got into any specific show. But I don't know. Started watching some anime, so things are getting weird. Things are getting weird in the dollhouse. Playing, Ys 8 and 9, Final Fantasy, and watching anime. Shit's getting weird for me. The only Diablo I've played is 3. Diablo 3 was really good. Dark Brandon just wondered what a dark rational national would look like. I'm not sure I could ever go, dark, like angry, laser eyes. Just I don't know. Actually, if anything, I was maybe a little rougher early on, because I was much more willing to get into stupid YouTube drama. Thankfully, I moved on and realized all that shit's dumb. So I just ignore all that garbage now. But I don't know. Crisis Core Remake, I am looking forward to that. I never played the original, so I will definitely get into that. Have not got into Terraria. At least you don't watch Rick and Morty. Pure crap. Who says I don't? Are you kidding me? Season 4, episode 3, the heist episode. Get the hell out of here. One of my best entertainment experiences in life was when I got high and watched season 4, episode 3. That heist episode was completely blew my fucking mind. I was in tears on the ground that entire episode. So Rick and Morty is great. Not every episode's great, but no, that episode was fucking hilarious. Hilarious. Killed me. And new season's coming up, so I'm looking forward to it. Have you played Stray? I have. I haven't finished it, though. I know it's a short game. I should probably finish it. But I just got sidetracked by Astral Chain. Oh, I see a chat here. Mike H says, we need a new Gears of War. You know which one I like the most? Gears Tactics. Probably in the minority there, but Gears Tactics is a really fun tactical game. And actually, I'm still playing through it. I probably put 20 hours into it, but it feels like a long story. But very good game. So I would definitely take a new Gears Tactics. Scrolling up here because I know I missed a bunch. I'll probably get off at about, I don't know, in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Ford, I agree with you, but the more I read, so Ford says Xenoblade 3 looks good, but the scope of the game almost intimidates me. I agree with you in the sense that I thought I had to play 1 and 2 first. I have not played 1 and 2. I'm not going to play 1 and 2. Otherwise, I would never play 3. Like games that are 100 hours long, not usually something that I really have the time to get into, considering how much I want to try out and play. But apparently, 3 stands enough on its own that you don't need to play 1 and 2, so that's what I'll be doing. I'm just going to jump into 3. And I saw someone on Twitter say they beat in like 70 hours, so, you know, in about 8 months, 9 months, I'll have beaten the game. But hopefully it retains my interest for that long. Have you tried Multiverses? I did try it. I do like it. I feel like I should put a little more time into it. It feels enough like Super Smash where if you enjoy Super Smash, you'll probably like Multiverses. So, yeah. But like, while I'm playing that, I'm kind of thinking to myself, shouldn't I just play Super Smash Brothers? Like, why am I playing Multiverse? So I kind of have to understand why I should play that over Super Smash. But that said, it does, like, the mechanics feel pretty solid to me. I just missed some chats, so I'm going to read. Adelator says, "Are you too young to have been around the 16-bit JRPG era?" No, I'm not too young, but I wasn't into it when I was, 8, 9, 10. So, or younger, actually. I got, my first console was Super NES, and I got that, I think, in 91 for my birthday, or 92. So, I just never played JRPGs when I was that young. And I wonder if I would have been into them at that age. I feel like I likely wouldn't have been. Persona 5 and Elden Ring are only games over 100 hours I beat. Persona 5 is the only game over 100 hours that I've beat. I don't think I've... I put more time into multiplayer games, like SOCOM 2 I played, over 1,000 hours back in the day. But in terms of single-player games, I'm pretty sure Persona 5 is the only single-player game that I played for over 100 hours. And somehow it keeps you going. It's a long-ass game, but somehow it doesn't feel 100 hours. And that goes to the way it's paced, the way it's, all laid out. They did a phenomenal job. I gotta say, I'm impressed by how much of my audience is into gaming. I still got about almost 800 of you in here, somehow. So, lost a few hundred, but some of you still here. Mike H says, "Worst game you've ever played? Superman 64 is mine." That's a good question. Because I'm so influenced by critics and just word of mouth, I very rarely try shitty games. I can tell you games that didn't review well that I do like. But I'm trying to think of ones that I really didn't like. I don't know. It's got to be something, on 64 like PS2 where there's some real stinkers. But I don't know. Of course I played Breath of the Wild. Fantastic. Cannot wait for the sequel. Though that wasn't 100 hours, was it? I don't think it was. I guess I can go back and check my time on that, but I'm pretty sure that was under 100 hours. That was more like 40 hours, I think. The worst game I ever played is American Gladiators on SNES. The controls make no sense like some games you do, and it doesn't ever tell you what to do, and graphics are terrible. Yeah, I never played that one. I used to rent games all the time for Super Nintendo and for N64. So I'm sure I picked up some shitty ones. I just think my brain has not allowed me to keep those memories in my head, because I do not remember all the games I've played. Are you into sports games? Yes, I'm into... I enjoy FIFA, though I suck at it. But mostly NHL is in terms of sports, what I play. And in fact, we have a new NHL cover this year. First time ever, female on the cover. Have an NHL rookie and a female player. Pretty cool. Bible Adventures. Yeah, never played that one. Seeing the God of War ripoff on Xbox store, it got pulled down, but literally less than a 0. It's hilarious. I did not see that. Man, yeah, I'm racking my brain. I feel like there was a Superman game on Super Nintendo that I remember not liking, but I don't remember much from it. I think it was The Death and Return of Superman. I think. But I have very little memory of that. Blizzard made that game? Holy shit. Never would have thought that. Blizzard developed a Superman game for Super Nintendo. Wow. Okay. Like, if you want to know just how deep I've been getting, oh, Tunic, great game. Great game. Tunic's really good. I've been, over the course of the past few weeks, I have been watching this 2-hour and 15-minute YouTube video on the history of Shin Megami Tensei. That's how deep I've been getting into some of this shit. But it is such a let me show you. This is a fantastic video. If you're into like I'm watching a lot of like gaming history stuff. If you're into any of that and are just curious, there are some really good historical videos. Here, let me show you this one. So this is what I've been watching. The complete history of Shin Megami Tensei, all 50 plus games. I had no idea how many games there were in this series. No idea at all. I've only played Persona 5. I've played Shin Megami Tensei 5, the one on Switch that just came out recently. I played that, though I haven't played through it, but I played it. And apparently Catherine counts, which I didn't know. So I guess that was my first Shin Megami Tensei game. But holy shit, there are so many. It is insane. But if you're into this shit, watch this. Very good video. I think I subscribed to this. I didn't subscribe to this. Are you kidding me? Good Vibes Gaming. Some real good stuff there. And the next one I have that I'm going to watch, it's in my to watch list, is the history of the Xeno games. So like Xenogears, Xenoblade, and I guess there's a lot more because the video is like an hour long. Almost 2 hours long. So I will see what's in that history as well. Yeah, I'm watching some very interesting stuff to get me to forget about how serious news is. Best Mario game ever was Galaxy 2. You know what? I probably agree. Though Odyssey was really good too. But I think you're probably correct. All right, probably getting off soon. I wish there was a way to just like segment my gaming stuff, but within the same channel without turning anybody off that isn't into this. So this is kind of my only place to to have these discussions with any kind of audience. Because I go, actually, follow me on Twitch. I am trying to build up Twitch again after they strip my partnership away for no freaking reason. But if you want to see me actually play some video games, twitch.com or .tv/TheRationalNational, I will pull that up now. So there we go. Nope. There we go. Just look up The Rational National, or really just, it's really easy. Twitch.tv/TheRationalNational. And follow me on there. So last weekend, I was online, played the new Mario Kart 8 tracks, played some Halo. Before that, I played some Ease 9. And sometimes I just go on and chat. So yeah, follow me on there for more gaming shit. I thought about making another channel for gaming, but it's the idea of having to build up a new audience on YouTube. It's just, no, not happening. It's too much work. I've spent years building this audience up. I like what I have accomplished. I like where I'm at. It's just, I don't have the time to build up a new channel. So it's more for me just like, you know, on the side, something I do for fun, which is why, you know, I have the Switch. Jesus Christ. Okay, voice is really being lost now. Time to stream Xenoblade. I've thought about it. The thing is, like, I streamed Ease 9 here. It's kind of hard to enjoy an RPG properly when you're streaming it, I find. Jesus. But I will consider it. All right, I actually have to go because I can't speak. Like, look at this. I'm done. My throat's done. Thanks, people, for showing up. I'll be back maybe next week. Maybe. See you later. Goodbye.